Hi guys, I am back with another video, and this time I'm going to be talking about college applications and choosing the right college because I feel like I was not prepared for the application process whatsoever, and I struggled really hard. So this is to help all of you guys out there that are in between that process, or you're starting it, or you just want information about it. So let's get started. So I applied to 7 colleges and I got accepted into 5, so that leaves 2 that I got rejected from. I applied to Carthage College, Ithaca College, DePaul University, Muhlenberg, Syracuse, Northwestern, and USC. Now, Northwestern and USC were the ones that I got rejected from, so I wasn't like super shocked or surprised. The first 2, Muhlenberg and Syracuse, I got waitlisted, and then they contacted me back and they were like, actually, we're accepting you. So that was good, but I ultimately didn't even end up going there. Personally, a lot of people say 7 is a really good choice, but in my opinion, I think 7 is not great because I wasn't prepared for the college applications. So when you apply to a college on the common application, you have to pay a fee most of the time, and the fee can range from anywhere from $40 to $90. So if you multiply, let's say 50 by 7, that's kind of expensive. It gets very expensive, and yes, there are some waivers, but the waivers are kind of difficult to get, and they're not really for everybody. They have a lot of requirements, and I found that I was probably only able to get like 1 waiver, which is kind of crazy. So I would really recommend that you think about the choices that you want, and you don't just put 7 on there because you want to make sure you have a lot of safety schools. Like, make sure that every college that you are applying to is one that you actually want to go to. I'd also recommend that you visit. This will help kind of wean out like the colleges, because I really wasn't able to visit because it was expensive to fly to all the places that I wanted to go because mine were kind of spread out. But ultimately, I'm so glad that I ended up flying to a couple because it definitely changed my opinion. Like, for instance, Syracuse, I was really into. It was like my number 3 choice. But then when I visited, I didn't even have it on the list anymore, and I had already applied. So I wished I would have toured before I even applied to schools, because then I could have kind of wean out the ones that I didn't want to go to. And it's nothing against like Syracuse or against the school. It just might not be your fit. You might not feel like you like it. There might be something that you don't like about the school, and that's why it's important to tour. On another note, when you're touring, take notes. I can't tell you how many times I was on a tour and nobody was taking notes except for me. And the reason why you want to take notes is because you're going to forget. I know it seems like you're going to remember like the college and the tours and like what they said, but you really won't. By the time you get home, you'll barely remember anything. So it's really important that you take notes about things that you like, things that you don't like, especially things that you don't like, things that you have to pay for, the tuition, and then make sure that you grab a ton of brochures. I'll do another video, but I have so many college brochures and pamphlets that it's crazy. But it really did help me choose the college that I wanted to go to because I had all the notes right in front of me. When you're choosing a college, you also want to make sure that you're factoring things in. So my ranking, which I'll tell you in a second, wasn't just based on, oh, it's a school that I've always wanted to go to. It was based on so much more. When you're factoring about choosing a college or choosing a few colleges that you're going to apply for, you want to factor in 4 things. And in those 4 things, there's like a lot. So the first thing that you want to factor in is the cost, which I know that seems like a no-brainer. But the thing is it's not just about can your family afford it, but it's about what the scholarship is like, how much financial aid are you going to get, what are the student loans going to look like, do they have good work-study programs? Like, that's very, very, very important to put on your like things to note, unless you can just afford whatever college you want to go to, which wasn't an option for me. So I really had to look at the scholarships. No matter how bad I wanted to go to the school, I had to make sure I was choosing an actual good choice and not just being blinded by, oh, well, this is a school that I want to go to. The second thing that you want to know is the location. And this can mean a lot of things. Is it close to home? Do you like being close to home? Is it far from home? Do you want to be far from home? Is it in a big city? Are you a city person? Or is it in a very rural, small town with nothing? Do you not mind that? Like, you really need to check, because there's a lot of colleges that are in the middle of nowhere, and you would not think that. but they're in the middle of nowhere. Sometimes they're on a hill, sometimes they're right in the city, but it just depends on what life you'd rather have. If you're fine with living in the middle of nowhere, that's cool. But if you know that you're a city person and you're trying to go to a college with nothing, that's going to be really difficult because you're not going to be able to do things that you wanted to do. And it just depends on what kind of experience you want. So make sure you factor that in. I looked at a lot of the locations that were around the area, things that they were to do, and things that pertain to my major. If you're going to a college in Idaho and you're going for film, well, is there going to be a lot of film opportunities there, or do they have study abroad for you to go do film opportunities? That's something that you really need to make sure is important, because if they don't, then it might not be the best choice for you, because then you'll have nothing to put on your resume. The third thing that you want to factor in, of course, is academics. Now, these aren't ranked. This is just depending on what your preference is. But academics are really important, and not just academics pertaining to how good the school is. You can say how good the school is all you want, but if they don't have your major, then there's really no point in going there. So you want to make sure that they have your major. That's the most important thing. What your major entails. Is it what you want? Because you can say, oh yeah, look, they have pharmacy, but it might not be the hands-on pharmacy program that you want. So make sure you're checking. You want to make sure that they have resources. This is so important. Do they have a really good library? Do they have a really good option of checking out books? Can they send in things? Do they have speakers come? Do they have the resources for, like, if you're doing art, do they have the right art things? Do they have the right pastels? That's really important, and that goes under academics, so make sure you're checking that out. And last but not least, the faculty. This is really important. If your school has crappy faculty, probably don't go there. You want to check and make sure. You want to see what the professors are like. Do they work full-time? Are they part-time? Are they nice? Do they work with the students? Because there's been a lot of issues with a lot of my friends who have gone to a school and the faculty is just not great. So make sure. If you don't care about the faculty, then that's fine. But if you do, really look into it and check and talk to other students there. The last thing is going to be student life. Now, I feel like student life, a lot of people, when they see it, they're like, oh yeah, like activities. Yeah, activities are important, but also diversity. Do you want a school with a lot of diversity, or do you not? I can tell you how many times a school will say, oh, we have really good diversity, and then I'll check their stats and I'm like, how is 2% of African American students and 1% of Asian American students diverse? It's not. Check to make sure. Don't just go off what the college is telling you. They want you to come to their school, so they're going to say things that may not be entirely true. It's your job to decide if it is true or if it's not. You have to go back and look at the research and see and really just check the data. So with all that factoring, that's the most important thing. And you can add other things too, of things that you really want, like do they have study abroad? Do they have this and that? But make sure that you might have to compromise. With the factoring, you have to see what's more important to you. Is the money aspect more important to you, like scholarships? Or is the student life more important to you? Or is the academics more important? Like, that's a very specific thing. So for some things you might have to compromise. Like, they might have a really good major, but they might not have the best diversity. So you have to choose and see what you really want. That's the most important thing. I bet you're wondering, yeah, that sounds all great, Lene, but how do I find a college? Well, that's a bit more tricky. You see, it's more based on your preferences and what you like. I got a ton of college books from the library, and I kind of rifled through them and chose things that I liked and what I didn't like, and that helped me a little bit, but it was a little bit difficult. So I recommend going on the College Board website. They have a college filter, and you can choose if you want a big college or small college and what kind of financial aid you want, and they have like a ton of filters for you to choose from, and that helps narrow down some college choices. I would also recommend looking to see if you want it to be in a specific state. If you want it to be in a specific state, then it's a lot easier because your choices are more narrowed down. Unfortunately, I didn't have that. I didn't really care where I went, so that kind of just opened up a whole new wave of things, but if you can really narrow down like a location that you want, that helps a lot. So that's about all that I have for now, but don't worry, I will make more videos, and make sure to leave your comments down below so that I can answer them in my videos or in the comment section. I love to continue talking about the college series and just continuing to talk about how to get into college, so just let me know. Thanks for watching. Bye.